Hypertubes, fantastic, easy ways for getting from point A to point B with minimal effort. But what is the fastest way to get there? So obviously you can just build a flat tunnel, but rarely will the terrain really offer you an opportunity to build a nice, simple, direct tunnel. So I decided to spend a bit of time trying to figure out, what happens if you go up and down and up and down. What happens is obviously you accelerate on the up and you accelerate on the down stroke. What really matters is the final position, right? So this one ends on a downstroke, we end up here. This one ends on a downstroke. It doesn't really seem to matter how sudden the deceleration is. You can kind of see that if we go in this one over here, we're going to end up on that concrete block, and it's pretty much the same as we ended up with when we went here. So it's really the last downward stroke that matters in a given hypertube, right? If you go up and down, it's going to take you longer to get through it, but you basically lose any speed you gain on the up stroke. So, and I was able to then confirm this by looking at the same thing. But what happens if we start up and go down? Well, we kind of end up pretty much in the same as our straight away scenario. But what can we do to accelerate things? So, I mean, what that brought me to is the linear accelerator. So when you enter a hypertube, there's this burst of speed, right? And we want to get that burst of speed. What happens if we repeat it over and over again? So we just spit you out from one hypertube into the next. Well, you go faster. And that's pretty cool. If you double the density, you go even faster. Obviously, you're paying much more power. But if we pop in here, well, we hit this tube, but trust me, before I put that tube in place, we ended up all the way over here. Way further. But really, we are currently going out at a horizontal velocity, and that just cuts the impressiveness down on any of these. So if we hook this tube up, and it turns out that it takes a fair distance for it to be a valid 90-degree turn, and we do the exact same thing, we end up going pretty high enough that you really want to make sure that you've remembered your jetpack. And once we hit the ground again, we can go back in and we can see what happens if we tilt it rather than go straight up. So straight up is impressive, it gives you a nice vista, and once you got jetpacks, it looks pretty cool. But if instead we point it, say, this way, let's see how far we can get. So we will pop through here, and we end up going way across the desert. And if you got a jetpack, you can also then use your jetpack to maintain a bit of height. And let's see if we can get through to our aluminium base over here, and you can see how quickly we get there. Although, obviously, we're at the point where we need to be pretty careful, because otherwise we're going to run out. And there we go. So that is a linear hypertube accelerator. You can try and use it in smaller scale, like here. And that will help speed up your trip home on these extended ones. Or you can try and do something much sillier and use it to try and fling yourself across the map. So that's been your Satisfactory tip for today. As a reminder, a linear accelerator is going to be one way, unlike other hypertubes, which can be made two-way. A linear accelerator, you have to have one way, so you're going to have to start doing other things like I've got back there, where you have a short linear accelerator that kicks you into a two-way tube. because it turns out you can have two opposite direction tubes next to each other, and you'll skip past one on one way and you'll enter it on the other way. So that worked out pretty well, and maybe I'll go into that in a future video if you want to see. But just a quick reminder, once we make it all the way back to this base, when we go and look at our when we go and look at our hyper accelerator, let's try that again. This is built in a very simple way. So entrance, Hypertube to another support, entrance, Hypertube to another support. So these supports are in fact completely superfluous. They are not needed once you've got things set up, but you do kind of need them to terminate the previous Hypertube. So you can save materials this way, and so it can do the exact same thing. But yes, you do want to be careful, because if you don't want to travel, well, you can stop it, but it is somewhat dangerous. That has been your Satisfactory tip for today. I hope it's been informative, I hope it's been helpful, and if you enjoy these, or you've got a suggestion for any sort of tip that you'd like to see, any topic you'd like covered in basically any game, let me know and I will consider it for a future video. Bye!